Welcome to Vinci's Discourse, where the minds of today's most innovative entrepreneurs are unveiled and explored. And my name is Campbell, your guide on this journey into the depths of the entrepreneurial psyche. So sit back, relax, and get ready to dive into the minds of the greats. This is Vinci's Discourse. So dude, tell me, if somebody were to ask you who you are, if they were to ask you that, what would you say to them?
I would say, to be honest, I am a person that really believes in changing the world. I really believe that individuals have the ability to do the things that they picture in their mind, and it's
Mm.
just a matter of tapping into that inner creative and actually making it happen. And like I said, I'm a person that believes in that, and I also believe in helping people to make that happen. So that's what I would say.
Love it, man. I love how it's different from what you do for a living because sometimes when I ask that, people will say what they do. So let's get into that side of things a little bit. What do you do for a living if somebody were to ask you that?
So I take that premise and actually do exactly that. But I'm a completely blind person, and I work with individuals across the world, literally, that have disabilities to help them. As a person that I interviewed, Dan Miller would often say, help them find or create work that is meaningful, purposeful, and profitable. So I take a person that's disabled and is not working and help them realize that there is a vocation out there for you, be it self employment or traditional employment, and we create a path, set them on that path, monitor that path, and hopefully when they come out, they're fully and gainfully employed.
Wow, man. Beautiful thing. Seriously. What got you into that, man? I mean, how did you, what were the initial steps looking like or sounding like when you were able to move into that kind of career aspect? How did it start off for you?
A long story made less long. So I was briefly homeless and losing my sight, filed for divorce, bankrupt, and had to really think about how do I move from the bottom to where I knew I wanted to be in my mind. And I realized that the questions that I was asking people didn't really give me the answers or the inspiration or the focus that I needed to make it happen. And I realized it because where I saw myself at in my head, most people didn't see themselves as accomplishing that, much less me, with me coming to them for advice. And once I started to get on my feet and started to realize things about life and resetting things, I said, if I can do it, knowing where I've come from, knowing what I've been through, then I can absolutely help other people to do it. And so I had a mentor that did help me, Lori Renfro. She would say, just help people. And it was crazy because I just read one of Zig Ziglar's books, and he said, if you help enough people get what you want, or if you help enough people get what they want, you'll always have what you want.
Yep.
And she said, just help people. And I said, well, how do I help people? I have nothing. She said, well, what's your passion? What's your purpose? What's your goals? And I said, technology. And so I started helping people with their technology, especially people with disabilities. And, I turned that into a business and grew it. And, you know, here we are today to be able to talk about it.
Wow, man. Incredible, dude. Seriously. What would you tell yourself? You were homeless, you were going blind. What would you tell yourself right before that happened when you had your sight, when you were going through the leading up to that? What would you tell yourself if you could go back to that man and say, X, Y, Z? What would you say to that guy? Would it be a message of appreciation to appreciate what you got? Would it be a message of something bad is coming, but it's going to be turning good at the end of the day? I mean, where would you go with that message?
I look at it as a period and a point of reset.
Yeah.
To be able to, if I could go back and just reflect on what got me to that point, because I'm not homeless sleeping in the car on the street. I just kind of lost everything, and it was due to the decisions that I made. I mean, no one makes that many mistakes without the ability at some point to be able to stop and course correct. But thankful that everything crashed down because I was able to, like I said, reset, um, reformulate, come up with a new plan, and execute on that. And I find that, the terminologies that individuals use now, I had to pivot and I had to, all of this stuff. And yeah, you have to do that at different junctures in life. And so that's what I would tell myself: sit back, think about it, don't make the same mistake twice, as mom said, reset, and make it happen.
Mm. All right, man. Sweet. So that's a cool message. What about in terms of helping people discover where they're meant to be? Because I feel like that's a big part of what you do, man. You'll help people figure out how they can contribute, how they can give to enough people so that they can get what they want.
Yeah.
So let's say that I'm an individual who hasn't found, because we can just put myself in that shoe, and then you can help me kind of walk through the same way you would with anybody else. Let's say that
Okay.
I'm struggling to find my path. Let's say I'm running a business, but I'm not loving my everyday work. We can say, that's probably a common problem. Let's walk through the path that you would take people through if they were struggling with this.
Well, the biggest thing, a lot of times, I'm dealing with people with disabilities, so they either have worked and became disabled and they can't work anymore. The beautiful thing about a lot of that in that particular scenario is that the world has changed, and so working from
Mm,
home is not this thing for executives. Is something that the world is now doing. Post pandemic, so can you take what you learned from being an employee and turn it into your own business? My dad would always say, hey, if you're going to work at Subway, that's cool, but learn where the guy gets the meat, the cheese, the lettuce, all the vegetables from, and then open up your own. So can you take what you knew then, and your performance and all of that, and turn it into a business? So that's one aspect of it. If a person has never worked before, and is really lost, what are your passions? What is it that is your unique thing that you bring to the world? And you have to be able to find that to know, what you have to offer. It's kind of like, if you don't understand your value, you're not going to be able to sell it to someone else. So if you don't understand what you can create, or what makes you smile, or what you're able to do or make happen, then how are you going to be able to transform that from your brain to a resume, to an interview, into employment? And so we just kind of walk people through their unique paths to get to where they want, because I could look at a person and say, oh man, you'd be great for this. But if they don't see it, then, that's just something that they maybe will remember later on in life, and maybe they'll act on it. But, it's what that person sees for themselves in their head, and must be willing to take, advice, or examples, or help. They want to move to the next level. And in today's time, we call it, mentorship and masterminding.
mm. I want to ask you, as you're speaking with me, I can see that your eyes are moving to as though you're like, for example, when I look up to the right, I'm looking up at a creative thought, and
Mm-hmm.
my eyes move as the internal thought moves. And I notice that happens with you. So I'm wondering what your internal world is like, living with your
Now,
subjective experience, man. Tell me, like, what do you experience instead of sight?
wow. Now, you know what? That I've been interviewed by hundreds of people, literally, and no one has ever asked that question. And people that know me say, I can literally see you thinking.
Yeah.
It's like, your brain is just going. And I don't know, man. I'm calculating, um, you know, I wouldn't even know how to explain it. I mean, I got an
Mm.
event that's coming up on the 28th, and I'm thinking about
Mm.
that. And I got, this interview, and I'm thinking about the question, and am I on track? While at the same time, my brain is simultaneously thinking about payroll and all of that. So it's literally just going and like, it's like a gear. Once it get into gear, it just like checks off that box, and then I'm able to move on. So it's it's literally
Mm.
thinking ahead. And I tell people, it's like playing chess and not checkers. And even though it's cliche, it's thinking of multiple moves ahead, and so yeah. And then it's the normal. You look up and to the right when you're thinking, and that whole thing. So yeah.
Is it visually? I mean, like, because
Yeah, it's a vivid vision. It's
mm.
literally that. I can think about it and make it happen. I can picture it. I can picture the conversation. I can picture how I'm gonna go into a boardroom meeting, what I'm gonna say, what I'm gonna wear. Everything is kind of like calculated for me. Even this interview, as you know, is kind of impromptu because I did not know that it was going to be on video. So I mean, you literally get the unshaved head and the unkempt beard and headphones on, and all of that stuff. But even that, it's like, okay, well, what am I going to do? I'm just going to give them the best interview that I possibly can. There's no need to be nervous because you know you're exposed. So here it is.
Mm. Now you say you think vivid visually. So I mean, have you noticed an increase in, let's say, resolution since you lost your vision? Have you noticed what have the changes been, if you can remember? When, first of all, when did you lose your vision?
So I'm 48. I lost my vision at 30, so about
Wow.
18 years ago.
Wow.
So I had 30 years of sight. Probably the only thing that I haven't seen that's like new is like an iPad. Of course, I have it, but like physically seen it. I mean, we know what cars look like in buildings and all of that. But new inventions since 18 years ago, I haven't physically seen. Um, yeah, vivid. It's
Wow.
however I want to imagine it. I remember
Mm.
black and white photos was a thing, even though we got full color, and so I can picture it however I want to picture it, and I can shape it however I want to shape it. And I guess a drawback to that is, um, if it's other people involved, then I can't control it, and then it
Mm,
doesn't look
yeah.
like look like the way I sculpted it. So yeah, so that's a big thing. But other than that, yeah, I can picture it however I want to picture it.
Yeah, you said you sculpt it, which is so cool because you're talking about creating something in your mind, and then it's like the strangest secret in Think and Grow Rich. You're talking about something that you can create, visualize, and actually bring to fruition. And you're telling me the biggest struggle is trying to get what you see in your mind, the hyper resolution, vivid visual image that you have of something that you're creating, and transferring that to somebody else's mind. And that's difficult as
Yeah,
all hell, man, especially because you probably think a lot crisper because you live in the internal world. So you can't, it's probably very difficult for you to get that message across to other people who don't have that visual landscape like you've been developing over the last 18 years. So is
yeah.
that frustrating, man? I mean, like shit. How do you
Well,
feel about transferring thoughts over to people like that?
yeah, it's something that I read in a book, The E-Myth Revisited, and
Oh
it's
yeah.
dealing with when you explain something to someone, especially if it's employees like I have, and them getting the picture, it's have them to write it out in steps: step one, step two, three, four, five, whatever. And then when the step is skipped or it's not there or this is where the bottleneck is, let's break that down and understand, okay, this is what we're missing and add that to the steps. And then you have this complete pamphlet of
Mm,
steps that a person can take, and as long as they follow it, you're going to get the predictive result. And so that helped me to be a better communicator,
mm,
because trying to get what I see in my brain out, make
yeah.
sure that I'm explaining it correctly, and to make sure that what I have, and I'll give you an example of it. So I do fragrance reviews
Mm.
for colognes. And so I wanted this pedestal. I wanted, a stationary camera. I wanted the pedestal to spin. You needed it in a certain place, and I had to explain all that to someone. We had to get the right stuff. We had to set it up, and it's communicated with multiple people, Sweetwater, to make sure they understand what we need. The person that's going to actually put that, display together, and then I wanted to be able to plug it into my camera switcher and switch to that particular display without ever having to think about it again. I can just put a bottle up there, know that that camera is going to be focused, know that that camera is always on, and have all of those pieces from what was in my head to the end outcome completed. And yeah, so explaining it, being a communicator, and being able to translate what's in my mind to people was a daunting task, but now it's a bit easier, and you have to understand the people
Mm.
that you're dealing with as well. So yeah, that's kind of how I do it.
Well, let's get into that. I mean, because I'm so curious, man. I mean, you're a
Sure.
fascinating dude. Like seriously, like incredibly fascinating dude. And it's like I just want to understand what it's like to have your day-to-day experience. So, like as I'm speaking, what's going on internally? Are pictures popping up? Are you because I'm fascinated with this with myself, for example. This is why I'm asking these questions because I'm fascinated with the internal experience that we have. And so as I'm talking, speaking of trying to translate what's going on in your head to others, what's popping up in your head as I speak? Is it visuals? Are you cueing into the cadence or the timbre of my voice? What's the experience like as you listen to somebody?
Um, so the experience could be totally wrong, right? But I'm picturing a guy from California, and it sounds like either you're talking through a speakerphone or the audio is not adjusted. Now,
Really?
that's yeah. Yeah, that's just like the immediate, but
Huh.
I can definitely get the curiosity, the how would I
Mm.
say, the honestness in the questioning, and the fascination with it. But yeah, that's what just comes across my mind. Now you could totally be from Connecticut and have the best mic ever. That's just what I picture. Just because there's
Damn, so
nothing else to go on, dude. I got an
I gotta work
email.
I gotta work my audio, man.
Nah,
From
nah,
the
I don't
guy with
know.
the expensive ass headphones and experience
No,
the world,
no,
and I'm like, shit,
no,
man. I gotta get my
nah. It's
audio repair guy over here.
yeah, it's I don't know. It's I mean, you just, that's the only I can't see it, so I have to like visualize it, you know. And
Amazing, dude. Seriously amazing. Wow.
yeah, so you're
What
not
about
from
the
California, huh?
No, no, I'm from Canada.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Got you. I've never been. I got a blind guy there, Jeff Collis, who was one of my. I think he was from. Is
Oh
Banff,
yeah,
Canada?
Alberta. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, from there. But okay, still Canada. Got you.
Yeah, yeah. But I'll take the California comment, man. There we
Just not the
go.
audio.
I'm not
Got
that
you.
tanned, man. It's winter time here, so I'm doing my best to
Right, cold. Never been. Always wanted to go, but yeah, definitely.
So, brother, what about technology? How have you noticed that technology has improved your life considering 18 years ago, compared to now? What about the changes that you've noticed and the progression? I mean, tell me about that a little bit. Hey, I hope you're enjoying the podcast, and I want to let you know that I've got a free book that you can get if you want to tap into more of these resources. And you can get that for free at kylesbook.com. Back to the podcast.
Man, another thing that I pictured, definitely didn't necessarily predict because you could see it coming, but Uber Eats,
Mm.
Uber, Lyft, house automation,
Yeah.
to be able to have accessibility, all over, is the things that I pictured, and we're like living in it now. And I'm
Mm.
really at a place in life, like, what do I do? Because what I pictured, 15 years ago, it's here, and I always picture myself as part of the push to usher it in. But once it's here, what do I do? And so it's another one of those reflection moments that I'm having, where, my parents say, what do you buy a man that has everything? I don't have everything, but, the cliche that they say, and it's like, what do I do now when the world is as I pictured it and hoped that it would be? Um,
Mm.
so yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
And then we got AI coming with Alexa, for example. That's going to be freaking amazing. Have you ventured into the
Yeah.
whole AI space at all?
Um, what do I use as kind of AI? I did a couple of online courses to see what it would spit out.
Hmm.
I mean, there's just so much you can do with it, even now, and it's at its infancy. I was telling
Yeah.
someone today that it's the next wave. I don't know how I feel about it as far as the creativity of it all.
Mm.
Because you can just literally punch in, create me a donkey sitting on a red car in the middle of the ocean, and it'll just spit it out. You know what I mean? It's like, okay. Um, so I don't know, but yeah, AI is definitely here. It's not going anywhere. What does that mean for employment? Does that help people, or does that continue to narrow the gap of needing different humans to do different things? So
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, I mean, I love technology. So it is what it is.
Yeah, no shit. We don't know where it's going. But
Where
I'm
it's
thinking,
going.
yeah, no kidding, man. I mean, shit. I think about it as, I mean, for especially for the disabled, I mean, you would be able to have, so it depends on the disability, but I
Right.
feel like it would be empowering as all hell to have the ability to speak into a computer that can respond back with verbal commands as opposed to well, hopefully it's not giving you commands. Hopefully you're the one giving it commands.
Right, right,
But who knows
right,
what the
right,
hell's coming, man? Shit. But
right,
but
right,
I feel like it would be empowering as all hell to be able to have this dialogue back and forth with something, not someone. You got to be careful. Something
right, right.
that can help in a lot of ways, especially with disabilities, man. So what do you think about the future of that going? I mean, we can get into the whole Neuralink thing too, and I mean,
Right.
hell, helping people. I don't know how that would work. Like use their internal eyes to see the external world through some sort of a chip or some crazy shit. I don't know. Where does
Yeah.
your mind go with all of this, man?
So
Interesting.
I mean, we got audio description,
Yeah.
especially like for movies, which is another thing that kind of goes back to the original question as far as the technology and where it's come. Just to be able to go to the movies and to have someone describe what's going on, universally to anyone that's disabled, is just a plus. In the states, a lot of the movie theaters is closed down, due to streaming and the pandemic and all of that. But yeah, um, that's a great thing. I'm good with the computers. I mean, I talk to my computer now, with Siri and the A lady and all of that great stuff. So that's cool. I don't necessarily want a relationship with my computer. I
Yeah,
don't,
no
I
shit.
don't, I don't want none of that. But yeah,
Just wait till it's a hot blonde that's coming with big
right,
voluptuous
right,
tits.
right.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's like that
Yeah.
virtual reality thing, and you
Yeah,
put on
that's
a
true.
glove and it's vibrating, and I'm like, nah,
You're holding
yeah,
some squishy fucking balls and
right,
you
right.
interact with what's going on. I mean, shit. Who knows, man? Who knows where
Yeah,
it's going?
yeah. So I think virtual reality, especially with the augmented reality glasses and the
Yeah.
Vision Pro that Apple came out with. What is that? going to be like.
Right.
That's the new AI transformation of technology, and Apple's doing a great job, and they have a lot of money to, to make it as universally accessible for as many people as possible. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't because we don't know where the world is going. You know what
For
I mean?
sure. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, you said you predicted it 18 years ago that, or 15 years ago, that it was going to be to this point a little bit, Uber Eats and being able
Yeah.
to have, I mean, like, but you couldn't have predicted this. I mean, nobody predicted
No,
this
it
coming
was
so
just my
quick.
desire that, I
Yeah.
mean, we got food delivery, but I mean, why can't we just order a car, hop in it, and roll? I mean, because I couldn't drive, so that was like my dream.
Yeah.
And now it's here. And like I said before, I guess I got to start dreaming again to end up,
Yeah.
my last quarter of my life.
So, brother, if I were to ask you any question that you think that this interview would take the turn of helping the most people, what turn would that be? What question should I be asking, but I'm not right now?
um, how can people change their life?
Okay. So let's say I asked that. Let's make you do all the work today. Okay, so man, how do people change their life? Let's just say that I just asked that right there.
All
So
right.
tell me, what do you
Um,
think?
so you change your mind. You change your mind, and
Mm,
everything around you changes immediately. And
mm,
it's guaranteed. It's no psychic thing. You don't need to go to the doctor for it. If you want to lose weight, you change your mind. You say, "Hell, I'm fed up with it." And you have
mm.
to want whatever it is better than you want to breathe. And you really have to want it.
Yeah.
If you're tired of being broke, then you change your mind. If you're tired of, not being healthy, you change your mind. Whatever it is that you are tired of, um, you make it up in your mind and you start pushing towards it. And the universe will allow the people and the resources that you need to, um, come towards you. And next thing you know, you're at another level. And so that's how you change your life.
What do you think that is, man? Do you think that, like, what do you attribute that to? Is it God? Is it, I mean, it's fascinating because let's say, for example, I was at a point in my life where if I didn't make $6,000 within 8 days, I was totally fucked. I was like complete, I don't know where I would have been. I was living in
Mm-hmm.
my car for that whole summer, and then my car got towed, and I was staying at my girlfriend's house. They said I could stay there for 7 days, and I didn't have my car anymore, so I was totally screwed. Winter was coming, and I had to figure it out. And within those 8 days, I made the $6,000. And so, we change our mind, we change our life. But what do you think that is, man? Like, if you had to put a word to it or an answer to that, what is it?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's definitely a higher power, but it's us wanting to move to a better place, a different place than where we're at. And I mean, we're made to move and to grow and advance, and all of that. The dog doesn't say, "Hey, in 6 years I want to be da 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 da."
Yeah.
The cat, no, no, but us, and so we have that ability. And so, yeah, I think it is a higher power. I don't want to put it on any particular god or religion or anything like that. But the thing about it is, once you realize you can do that, then you went on to other places in your life and exerted that same desire and energy and effort. And you've seen other things, happen just like that. And so it was a mindset that calls you to take action and not
Yeah.
just sit there.
Yeah. And I got lucky as all hell within those 8 days because I had no plan, and luck was a big part of it. I developed a plan, and thankfully it worked right away. And so,
Right,
I mean, I feel like those two go hand in hand, luck and being able to have that vision and moving toward it, um,
right,
leaving no other option but to achieve it. And it's incredible, man, because then it depends on what you want. And if you can figure out what you want, you got to be careful with that because more or less, if you work towards it, you'll get it. And so
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's developing the vision of what you want and being able to move confidently towards that. And
Yep.
then yeah, so then the question becomes like, how do you know what you want? Because you're going to get it if you want it bad enough.
Right.
And then how do you
Right.
develop that the desire so that it's fucking burning and intense, and
Yeah.
then you've got that emotion behind it, and then your actions produce these results. You got a story for me, man, in terms of something that you've been able to conjure to reality that started in your mind that you were able to build in the real world?
Yeah. Well, just the company that I own. But I mean, that happens with everything. You go
Yeah,
into a watch store, you see a nice watch. You may not can afford it now, but you say, if you're realistic about it, some people, they look at stuff and they just say, that's my watch, like playing that's my car when we were kids and we're riding in, the back of our mom's station wagon, looking at nice cars, saying that's my
yeah,
car. And
yeah,
it's not really your car or your desire to get it. But I mean, you looked at something nice and said, not right now, but I'm going to get it. And then you ended up with it. But, my business, I wanted to um, be known all over the world, um, for assistive technology and for helping people with disabilities do exactly what I'm doing now, And so what I did, and I'm just coming off of being homeless, I'm dead broke. Is a friend of mine was selling cruise packages, and he said if you sell 10 cabins or 10 individuals, 5 cabins, yours will be free. And so I never been on a cruise. I've never been out the country. So I told everybody that I knew, hey, we got this cruise. It's cheap. We're gonna have this seminar, and I'm gonna talk to you guys about opening a business.
mm,
And we did exactly that. And so I'm thinking about my name for my company, and I'm on the deck, and there's people around me. None of the people that I invited to go on the cruise, come to find out, they just was partying, and we never had this meeting. But I'm thinking of this name because I love hats, and I just read Malcolm Gladwell's book Outlier, and so I'm thinking Outlier, Fedora
mm,
Outlier. And so I just turn around and I'm like, hey, listen, I'm trying to come up with this company name, and I got Outlier, Fedora Outlier. Which one sounds the best? If you had to add LLC at the end. And they said, give us the two names again. And I gave it to them. Everybody's like, Fedora Outlier. It was like this collective, and they was like, oh, that's cool. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. And so I started it from there. Of course, no clients, no nothing, no LLC. And yeah, I mean, it's because I started it. I'm here with you,
yeah,
being interviewed, and I've had everybody on my show from Dan Miller to Dave Ramsey, of course, John Lee Dumas, and everything, just from a desire, again, to help people.
yeah.
If you,
Mm,
you help them get what they want, you always have what you want.
mm. What's the number one lesson you've learned over all these interviews you've done?
The number one lesson I've learned from doing interviews and interviewing other people is just be yourself.
Mm,
Be transparent. Be There's only one you, and you're the only one that can be you. And I think that garners the most views, the most listens, the most genuine connections it is,
mm.
that can be had. And people will resonate with it. If you're, the trust fund baby that, no, very few people can relate to that type of story. And so I just come to every interview, as genuine and as open as possible.
Yeah, you can tell, man. You lay it all out. I mean, hell, you shared your
That's not
you
true.
shared your internal world with me today, and so you it was like a inside outside shift that took place.
Right.
And I asked a question
Yeah.
that you've never been asked before. So I find that fascinating.
Right.
It seems like such an obvious question to me. I mean, I'm just so
Uh-uh.
curious with the subjective experience that you would have on a day-to-day basis, man. So
Right.
thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that with me, man. Seriously, I mean, hell. Um, very, very, very cool, dude. So, what else you got to add for me, brother? And then we'll kick this off here. Grateful for you for this.
Hey, just nothing. Hey, if you know anybody that's disabled, or anyone that's seeking employment, be it self-employment or traditional employment, reach out, and we'll assist. We got several Canadian clients and clients all over the world. But yeah, if you can see it in your mind, believe it in your heart, you can achieve it in reality. So that's what I got.
Mm. It's like that. There's a Mos Def song. It's if you can see it, you can be it. If you and you know if
Thought it
you
was R. Kelly, but all right.
oh, maybe they
I
stole it
believe
from
I
R.
can fly.
Kelly. But then
Oh, okay.
if your mind can go there, then why can't you? That's my favorite part of it
Right.
because it's like that hits if you really think about what that means, man. If your mind can go there, then why can't you? And then there's a differentiation between what's in the mind and the external reality, but then how they're one because the one creates the other. Two, I mean, yeah, you can go
Yeah.
all day with them. But shit, we
So
stole
let me
that from
give
R.
you
Kelly,
this.
eh?
Yeah, yeah. So let me give you this, and it was crazy when I think about it because it came from a Canadian. One of the biggest advocates in Canada actually is Donna Jodden, and she said to me, I was interviewing her years and years ago, and I ended the interview with something like, the sky's the limit. You heard that, right? And she stopped. It's like the record screeching, and she said, "VaShaun, the sky is not the limit." She said, "How do you know that the sky is not the limit? Because there's footprints on the moon." I'm like, oh, that's awesome,
Yeah.
baby. We don't have to stop at the sky. Yeah, so yeah, that was some of the hottest I ever heard.
Mm. When I think the sky's the limit, I'm thinking like the sky is, I mean, if you want to take it to the macro of it, the sky it
Mm.
reaches out into the infinite. And so when you say the
Right.
sky is the limit, you're saying the limit is the infinite. And so therefore there is no limit. And so you know what I mean? Because space is infinite as far as we can tell. And
Got you.
you see what I mean? So, and then that's the sky. I mean, you look up at the night sky and we've got the beautiful stars that stare down at us. And
Yep.
you're looking
Yep.
into the infinite. And so that's the way I think of that particular saying, sky's the limit. Well, there is no limit to the sky, literally. And so that's by all scientific account right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And therefore there's no limit, baby. It depends on what you want. You start moving confidently towards it, you can get it. So brother,
There
dude,
you go.
thank you so much for sharing your insights with me today, man. It's been a voyage into the
Yeah.
unknown, and so thank you, man. Seriously.
No doubt. No doubt. And you got my information, man. Stay in contact. I'm interested in all your perspectives on this stuff.
Yeah, man. Absolutely, dude. So you said people to get in contact with you. How do they get in contact with you?
You can go to Fedora, like the hat, F is in Frank, Edora, Outlier, Outlier.com. All the social media is there. My iPhone information, all of that stuff is right there. So go there, check us out, and we'll make it happen.
Beauty, baby. All right, dude. We'll leave it with that. Thank you so much, man.
All right, you have a good one.
You too, brother. Chat. All right. I hope you enjoyed that podcast episode. And if you want to get a free copy of my book, go to kylesbook.com and you can get a copy there. I'll talk with you soon.